Good morning. It's a beautiful morning here in San Francisco. You are listening to KSFS Radio San Francisco. KSFS is proudly brought to you by the Department of Broadcast and Electronic Communication Arts here at San Francisco State University, some rights reserved under the Creative Commons license. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Piscatelli, and you are here for another grief support group show. And I'm so excited because you might be thinking, wait, what's going on? It's a Monday. Or you might be listening to the recording, and that's okay too. But you might be listening on a Monday. You're like, wait, what's going on? Yeah, I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is a campus holiday. So we are here doing this on a Monday at 8 a.m. And let me tell you, 8 a.m. is early, okay? Here's the truth. Okay, wait, also, let me just say this is a grief support group where I talk all things pop culture, my research on grief and media, and answer your advice questions. If you have any advice questions you would like to ask, you can do so at bit.ly/KSFS advice. Okay, now that we've introduced ourselves, we can get right into it. So the truth of the matter is that 8 a.m. is early, but I don't want it to be, okay? I want to be someone who's a morning person. It's actually my truest life desire because I love the morning. It's my favorite time of day. I love being up this early. No, I don't love being up this early. But now that I'm up and I was like running late and I parked and got a spot really fast and did that and was rushing in. And I'm wearing Uggs today and I was let me cut across the grass. The grass is dewy because it's the morning. And now my Uggs are all grassy and wet. So I don't know. I think if you're not in a rush and you're able to wake up naturally and get a really good REM cycle at night, I think the morning is the best time of day. That being said, I am someone who sleeps in. I've always been someone who sleeps in. I was the person that at sleepovers growing up, I would wake up at 11 or 12 and people would be like, oh my God, there she, my friend's parents would be like, wait, there she is, good morning, that was me. That being said, I would love to be a morning person. Being a night owl is not fun. Who wants that? It's just, there's no good TV on. You feel like everyone's, no one's awake. It's just, morning is where it's at. So this is my initiation into being a morning person. And the truth of the matter, if I was ever to have a radio show, professionally, not that this isn't professional, but if I was to continue doing this outside of grad school, I would want a morning show. I think the morning is the best. Anyway, I am here and doing my show. Just want to do some housekeeping. Next week, I will not have a show because I will be in Italia, Roma, Italia, which I'm so excited for. So no show next week, but I will be back on Tuesday, the week of Thanksgiving, to give a little Roma update. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to be different. This is my coming of age. Going to Roma. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's my honeymoon, which is happening after 2.5 years after I got married. So I'm very excited. But I'm very nervous because, as mentioned, I have never flown that far before. And I'm just someone who I think it's my procrastinating nature. I'm really trying to ensure that I start packing early. That being said, I have not started. We leave Thursday. I feel like there's people out there who get started way ahead. So I feel like that would be crazy though if I had started today. I'll start a healthy, Wednesday morning. No, Tuesday night. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm nervous. And then I also feel not only is this for my honeymoon and me and my husband, but I feel like it's for my parents too. So I can't wait. I think it's going to be really fun. I can't wait to have some gelato, have a little cappuccino. It's going to be so great. I can't wait. And I'm the type of traveler who I just like to relax. You know what I mean? My husband's dealing with the itinerary, but it's not going to be a strict itinerary. I want to walk around and enjoy the sights and the sounds. I think that's what's important to me. So yeah, I don't know. I can't wait. I'm going to have an update for you all the next time we talk. And I hope it's going to be that I had my Lizzie McGuire moment. Sing to me, Paulo, they're going to bring me on stage and it's going to be great. I can't wait. Okay. So today we have a really great show, but before we get to it, I have something to say. Actually, let me say the agenda. So I'll give a little bit of a thesis update, but it's not going to be anything crazy because I don't want to think about it right now. I cried yesterday and that's enough. Okay. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about a movie that's out right now and talking about the grief representation or lack of in it. And then I have 2 advice questions today. So one is going to be about letting go of a romantic relationship you know won't ever work. And the second one is about moving across the country and struggling with what feels like grieving friends and people not being in your life anymore once you move. So I'm really excited to get into those because I actually feel like I have a lot of opinions about both of them. So it's going to be great. But first, so I want to talk about something that I was just thinking about. So, I was like doing the laundry yesterday, like doing the bedding, and, I was thinking about like the bed and the concept of a bed. Here's the thing. I'm not a germaphobe. Okay. I think in ways, like there's things I'm very particular about, and maybe I am a germaphobe, but I feel like it's like very particular things. Like, for example, I have to waterfall from my water. I do have one water bottle that's like the Hydro Flask with the straw, and I do drink out of that one because like how do you waterfall that? But that's like a at-home water bottle. Like I bring it out sometimes, but like I'm not bringing that one to school because I'm like, I don't want particles to enter through the straw into my water. That's a recipe for disaster. But I think with normal water bottles, I like waterfall it because I don't want anything getting in my water. Like I would rather, I won't say die. I won't be hyperbolic, but there's many things I would rather do than like, if you said, take here, you can have $500 or like drink out of this person's water bottle, like one of their tin, like reusable ones. I'm not talking about just like a plastic one. Like I'm saying a reusable, like if someone was like drink out of this person's Awala for $500, I would say absolutely not. Like that's disgusting. Like the thought of that's so gross. So there's certain things I'm germophobic about. And the bed is one of them. So like the thing that they don't tell you about, well, I think a lot of people say this, that they don't tell you about being in a relationship is that when you live with them, you have to make compromises. Okay. So for me, my bed like was always this place where I'm someone who showers at night. So I shower and then I get into bed. And no outside clothes on the bed or in the bed. And it's a great day. We're good. We're going to have a good night's sleep. We're going to hit that REM cycle. But I think my husband, the thing is here is that he is a morning showerer. So I've had to make compromises, even though I don't want to. But we found a system where we have a duvet cover, and that feels less gross because I used to use like a top sheet and a comforter. And that feels really horrendous to like shower in the morning, have a whole day, still get in indoor clothes, never outdoor clothes on the bed, ever, under no circumstances. Anyway, so the duvet cover, whatever, compromises have been made, but like I'm so particular about my bed, okay? And also, side note is that one should, when there's a top sheet involved, things get really complicated because one should always check under the top sheet. Because here's the truth of the matter. As you all know, because I just said it, I sleep in, okay? And growing up in high school, I would sleep in, which meant on weekends, I would go to bed really late. And I would put on my big box TV in my bedroom. I would put on, it was either Discovery Channel or Animal Planet, one of those. But they used to have a show, it's not 1,000 Ways to Die, because that was one everyone talked about. No, it was I'm Alive. Okay. And so people would tell stories of their close calls, their close like quarters to death. Okay. And this one person said, I'm alive after a scorpion was underneath their top sheet. Yes. So the scorpion was in the bottom of their bed and they survived. I don't know, by the grace of God. I don't really know how they survived because that's so horrible. So when I go to a hotel, you always make sure to check that there's no scorpions under there. So that is one good thing about a duvet. Anyway, I forget why I started getting into this, but I was like reflecting because I was just thinking about like the bedding of it all to Jack yesterday. And so I moved away from home for the first time after I graduated undergrad. And that was when I was 22. Like And I had moved to LA from San Diego, and it was so, oh, I know where we were talking about this too, because we have friends who are moving, and we were just talking about like the process of moving and like being in flux and what that move is. And even though I've moved from San Diego to LA, back to San Diego, then San Diego to Boston, then Boston to Portland, Maine, and then Portland, Maine to here, my hardest move was my San Diego to LA one. And it was because it was my first time leaving home, and my first time like leaving my mom and everything. It was everything, right? But I had a roommate who was like, I'm a germaphobe. And I was like, okay, join the club. Like, okay. And she, like, we were like, it was when we first moved in together. It was me, her, and another person. Us three were sitting on the couches all together. And she was like, we were just like saying like kind of our like rules. Like it was like a chill conversation, like it was whatever. But I remember she was like, okay, under no circumstance should anyone touch my bed. And I remember being like, in what world do I want to touch your bed? Why would you bring that up? Why do you think I look like someone who wants to touch your bed? Do you want to touch my bed? Like, why would you say that? It just pissed me off so bad. It just pissed me off so bad because I'm like, do you think people are just out here like jumping on each other's beds? I don't want to touch your bed. She was like, don't ever touch my pillow. Like, why do you think I would? Anyway, I was just thinking about that. And I think maybe the classification of being a germaphobe is not wanting the people to touch your bed. Because are there people out here who like touching beds? I don't know. Actually, let me know because I'm curious. But like, last thing I'll say about this is my best friend Megan, shout out to her. Growing up sleepovers, I used to make her sleep on the floor, and she still brings that up because at other friends' houses, I actually would prefer if I didn't have to sleep in their bed. But like a lot of friends, when I would sleep over at their house, it was like, that's where you slept, in their bed with them. But like, I never let friends sleep in my bed because that's gross to me. I don't like sharing a bed. Like, I just like, my bed is my safe space. Anyway, I'm so sorry to Megan for all the years I made her sleep on the floor. That being said, we're going to get into our show. It's going to be fun. First, we're going to have a little bit of a music break, and I will see y'all soon. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that little music break. That was Balloon, Tyler the Creator featuring Doechii. I love that song. I feel like it's so good. I haven't listened to it in a few months, and then I don't know, I was just scrolling through my music. I was like, let me put something that I haven't heard in a few months on my playlist, and I do love that. Okay, welcome back. You are listening to Grief Support Group. I'm your host, Alex Piscatelli, and we are at the segment now where we talk about my thesis, my research in grief and media, and then in a little bit, we are going to answer some advice questions. That's what we do on this show. So we are going to be talking about letting go of a romantic relationship won't ever work. Oh, I have thoughts on that. And we're going to be talking about moving across the country and grieving the friendships that sort of change when you move. But first, the thesis update. So, update. You hear my laugh because I must, or else I'll cry. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I got a lot of feedback. And it was really intense, but we're going to work on it. For those who don't know, I'm looking at how teen drama fans understand and interpret grief. Yeah, no, we're moving along. We're pushing. Instead of talking about my thesis, I always avoid it because I'm like, wait, what's going on? I guess I'll say a little tidbit. I had turned in my full draft. But I have a lot of feedback to do. So basically, my thesis proposal as it stands is scheduled for December 2nd. And basically, I have to have it complete like a week before to let my whole committee like read it and make sure it's good to go. But of course, as you all know, I'm going to Italia and I'm going to be changing my life there. So yeah, we'll see what gets done. I obviously have a long day ahead of me today, tomorrow, Wednesday. But I think we'll get stuff done. We'll get stuff done on the plane. I hope and I pray. So we'll see. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to brighter topics. No, this is actually, I'm going to complain a little bit. Not really, but for those who aren't aware, like I love researching grief in popular culture and in media. And so when there are movies or shows about grief, especially ones that are like, I'm not going to be out here watching like a really like drama movie. Like that's not my vibe. I like to laugh. I like horror. Like rom-com and horror are like my two genres, I would say. And so I also have a Regal Unlimited pass now, which actually, don't get me started on that. That's a story for another time. It's so like, I had read somewhere how like gym memberships rely on you not actually using them that much, and that's how they get their money. And so I feel like Regal Unlimited is the same way, okay? Like, admittedly, I think I've had it now for 3 months, and I think I've only seen, that was the 5th movie I've seen with the Unlimited pass. So it's, yeah, I'm not out here using it as much as I should. I think as long as I go to 2 a month, I'm making my money's worth. Anyway, so that one of 2 a month was on Saturday. And many may be aware or not aware of Colleen Hoover. Yeah. That's a name you should know, okay? And not for any important reasons, just like I think in the way that, I mean, I think frankly, if you think about book talk and you think about like people talking about books online now, I think you know who Colleen Hoover is, right? Like I think a lot of I don't want to say resurgence of people reading, because I think reading is technically down and the lowest that it's been like ever. Although that statistic is based on reading every single day for leisure, which I don't do. And I'm someone who, I consider myself a reader. I don't read every single day. I feel like obviously who has the time, I would love to. But I think like if you are someone who is kind of following the cultural and current zeitgeist of how people are talking about books right now, you're probably aware of Colleen Hoover. Most notably, she wrote the book called It Ends With Us, and that was that movie that just came out last year with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, and then there ended up being a whole lawsuit following the show, not with Colleen Hoover, but she was involved in ways because Justin Baldoni had like the full rights to the story now because he had been chosen as the director, I think back in like 2019. So it ended up being a whole thing. But now, so all her books essentially are being made into movies, and these are books that are not good. Okay. I'm so sorry. Like if anyone likes Colleen Hoover, I'm so sorry. They're not good. And it's okay to like things that aren't good. Like I love reality TV, you know what I mean? But there's this book called Regretting You, and the movie just got made of it. And it is in theaters now. It just came out, I think, 2 weeks ago. And it's with Allison Williams, Dave Franco. Both of them I love. And then that kid that, I don't know his name, actually. I'm so sorry to this kid. But that kid who was in Black Phone, because I just saw Black Phone 2 in theaters. That was another one of the 5 that I've seen with my Unlimited. That kid's in it. And then McKenna Grace, who always plays like the younger version of people. I think she played the younger version of in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, like the younger version of the main character. Anyway, it's this movie about, if you are not familiar with the book and you're not familiar with this movie, it is about, where do I even begin? It's like so many stories. I don't even know where to get. I'm so sorry to laugh because I don't know what the F I just watched. Okay, so it's a story about Allison Williams' character gets pregnant at like 17, right? And it goes to like current day when her daughter is also now like 16, 17. And she is married to the guy like that she got pregnant with, and they raise the kid together. And her sister is married to, or getting married, because they just had a kid, like, because they just like her high school person that she was dating, they went no contact for a long time, and then they got back together at his dad's funeral, got pregnant, and then now they're together again. And then like so then I'm like, I don't even know how to explain it. This is how you know it's not that it's hard to forget or hard to remember. It's that it's like so bad. Like when something, you can't even explain it easily, that's how you know like you don't understand it. And this isn't a fault on me. This is a fault on Colleen Hoover. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But then the sister and the husband of Allison Williams die in a car accident. And the reason they die is because they've been hooking up for like years, and they just find that out when they die. So then basically Allison Williams and Dave Franco end up, like, apparently Dave Franco has been in love with her forever, whatever, even though he's like he was getting engaged to her sister. So there's a lot of like weird, like feels a little incestuous, like weird vibes going on. Meanwhile, the little girl, McKenna Grace, she is like in a relationship with the kid, and they're like establishing a relationship. But then she like doesn't know that her like aunt and like dad were cheating with each other, and then she finds out, and then it's like a whole thing, and then like everyone's like happily ever after, and then suddenly the kid from Black Phone, his like grandfather is the one raising him, and he's like has cancer and going through treatment, and then suddenly at the end of the movie he's like, oh, I actually have like a bunch of money, and like you can go off to college and like don't have to worry about me because like I have a ton of money that I didn't tell you about your whole life. None of it made sense, okay? Like, it was one of those movies that just pisses you off, but it was kind of a fun theater experience. That's what I will say. It was one of those small theaters because, again, it came out 2 weeks ago. So we were like confined in they put us in like one of the smaller theaters that only has like, I don't know, I couldn't tell, 30 seats or something. And me and Jack, we bought our tickets because I underestimate the power of like how much people are reserving their seats from the movies. Back in my day, you could go to a movie, like a premiere of a movie the day of, and get good seats. Now you have to reserve your seats. It's the issue with onlineness of it all, okay? I don't like to have to reserve my seat, but whatever. So we ended up getting the very front row. Like, I'm not joking you, the very front row. And we had to sit up and look up in our next, actually, when I just looked up, when I was pretending to look up, it hurt my neck. But we had to sit there and look up. So we're just hearing the chaos behind us. It's us and a bunch of like 18-year-old girls in this theater, okay? And everyone was screaming and gasping, and when people would kiss and when people would do other things, like everyone was so shook. And there were moments that it was just making me laugh because it was so like, I think this is what the theaters are about. And there's this one meme that's like talking about what the theaters are like now, and it's like this picture, and it's like the Nicole Kidman AMC ad, like she's one of the characters in it. Then there's like a T-Rex, and then there's like you know the picture of Taylor Swift, like for one of the Life of a Showgirl like photos, and she's like climbing over a theater seat, like it's like that in there. And then there's like someone like smoking, and then there's like, I don't know, like Calvin and Hobbes peeing, like it's like a it's just a meme that just like has all that chaos going on in the theater. And that is what the theater is like now. No one like we saw, okay, I'm going off on a tangent, but we saw when we saw Black Phone 2, like I couldn't get over, there were people having full on conversations around us, and like the girl next to me was like on her phone, and then someone was just smoking. I was like, literally, what's going on? I'm sorry, I only got like 4 hours of sleep. So it's making me laugh. I feel like just the like Taylor's I'm sorry. I feel like just the Taylor Swift like climbing over the seat is like, that's what people do in the theater now. Like, what happened to decorum? It's like I can't. Anyway, okay. It just makes me laugh. But anyway, so people were freaking out about like whenever people would kiss or whenever anything would happen. But I just want to say, because I look at representation of grief in media, like this is what I study. This is what I feel like my expertise. I don't want to say I am an expert already, but I feel like I'm building that sort of expertise. And you know what? This was bad representation, okay? Because there was never any conversations about grief. And this 17-year-old just lost her dad and her aunt. This Allison Williams, which, by the way, Allison Williams, the reason why I wanted to see this movie too, not that I thought it would be good, but she talks about, she just did an interview with Sam Sanders, who I love. He's such a good interviewer, but she just did an interview with him a few months ago promoting Megan 2. And she was like, because you know how she did Girls, and then she did Get Out, and then she did Megan, and like those are like the big things she's done, and now she's doing Regretting You. And she was like, I don't do something unless I like fully believe in it. And like, I'm not someone who watches girls. I do. That's one pop culture blind spot I have. But like, I know people are like very obsessed with girls. I think Ghetto is literally one of the best movies ever. And then, I love Megan. Like, I love it. So I was like, okay, she's doing Regretting You. She does things she she believes in, right? No, this was so horrendous. Anyway, but Allison Williams' character is grieving her sister and her husband. And then Dave Franco, who knows what he's doing. But like, I'm like, not once was anything really about grief. It was only about dealing with sort of the coming to terms with the cheating. That was what the movie was about. It wasn't about the grief. And I'm just like, what are we doing here? And I will say, I think there's a place for movies like this, because I've been thinking about this a lot, especially with Teen Vogue. Teen Vogue is no more. It's being like brought into Vogue, and they laid off a lot of their reporters who were doing very progressive like work, and incredible journalism. But I think it really sucks that we don't have that sort of like space that's the in between being like a kid and being an adult. And I think when I'm 29 because I'm super young and I'm in my 20s. But I, like when I was in high school, or middle school, like I had Limited 2, you know what I mean? Like I had High School Musical, I had Hannah Montana, like I had all these shows and media, and like obviously like you think of Miley Cyrus's albums or Demi Lovato's like first music or Selena Gomez's first music or whoever it may be, and all these artists and all this like, I don't know, there were just spaces to be a kid and to kind of grow into your teenage years. There was that dedicated preteen space. And we don't have that anymore. Like, I feel like you go straight from Cocomelon and Blippi to like, let me go on TikTok. You know what I mean? Like, there's not an in-between. And I think we really need that. And I think this movie and the Colleen Hoover books can serve as that. Are they good? Are they educational? Are they good representations of, and It Ends With Us? It's a movie about domestic violence, but it was not advertised as such. And then this movie, I mean, it should be about grief, but it was not. So are they good pieces of media? No. However, can they serve as spaces for like younger audiences to enjoy and to see? I was saying this too because that kid from Black Phone and McKenna Grace, I think, are dating in real life. I think I saw, again, I'm not looking into this because they're like 18. I just don't care. But I did think I saw like inklings that they are dating. And I'm like, that's nice. Like, I feel like we need that. Like, I feel like there's not a lot of that right now. Whereas like I count my lucky stars every single day that I'm the exact age that Zac Efron was like, yeah, like, because High School Musical came out when I was in elementary school, and then like Hairspray came out when I was in 7th grade, and you all know I'm obsessed with Hairspray. And so like we had Zac Efron. Who do the kids have now? It's a consideration to think about. Okay. I'm realizing I'm talking a lot, and I haven't even gotten to my advice questions yet. One last thing I will say is that me and Jack do this thing where when a movie ends, we're like, wait, let's look if it has a secret scene. I don't watch Marvel, so I'm always dying for something to have a secret scene, because I'm not gonna go watch Iron Man and be like, let me watch a secret scene. Like, I'm like, can Regretting You have a secret scene at the end? So we looked it up, and Jack ends up on this website called Run P. Like, literally, what is Run P? It's like one of those director's cut like board things, and then it says Run P on it. I don't really understand why it is, but they told us no, there is not a secret scene. So thank you, Run P. Shout out to you. Okay, we are going to get into our advice questions, but first, let's take a little bit of a music break. Okay, welcome back to Grief Support Group. I'm your host, Alex Piscatelli, and we are at the part of the show where we get into our advice questions, which I'm so excited for. I feel like I have really good ones this show, and I can't wait. By the way, I always want to be like, ooh, I'm a music show. and I only end up playing like 2 songs. I don't know how I talk to the extent that I talk, but it happened. I don't know. It just sort of happens. It's like, how do you grapple with not being able to shut up? You know what I mean? Okay. Well, this is Grief Support Group, and on this show, we answer advice questions. So if you want to ask a question for our next show, remember that's going to be 2 weeks away because no show next week because I am in Italia. That's right. Volare. I can't wait. Okay. But you can do so at bit.ly/KSFS advice. Okay. Let's get into our first question. So this person said, how do you let go of a romantic relationship you know won't ever work? And I feel like that's a really good question. And here's the thing. Okay, wait, I'm actually curious. Sorry. I was going to get into it. I actually, for this listener, I'm really curious, like, how deep you were into this relationship. Like, was this a situationship type deal? Was this someone you dated like longer term and you broke up and you're sort of grappling with the fact that y'all broke up and it's not a good relationship for you? So I think there's a few different answers here and they may not always apply, but it's something I have thought about throughout like my dating life, and here's the truth. I think I'm gonna say, because okay, I don't know if this is fully applicable, but the first thing I thought of when I read this is like, I think closure is a myth. I think when I had, and mind you, my relationship history, like, it's not that extensive. Like, I've only had one, like, very, like, situationships, and I've done a lot of dating, but I'm saying in actual relationships, I don't have a ton of, like, history in it. I've had one actual ex, that like one other person besides my now husband that I've like called a boyfriend, and it was for 3 months, and it was, oh, that's a lie, sorry, I've had 2 boyfriends, but one was like a high school one. I literally don't count that at all. But the college one, it was like a 3-month thing in college. So for me, and I'm not like discounting college relationships, just my college relationship I'm discounting, but it was like a 3-month thing, so it wasn't, I knew from the start I didn't want to end up with this person. I was just like, oh, it'll be fun to date him, you know what I mean? But I remember when we broke up, I was like, oh, I need closure. And I've said this on this show before, like I ended up writing him like this whole 2,000 word like memoir chapter, like about like the things he taught me or whatever. And when I say the things he taught me, I mean the things like being in that relationship taught me, because I thought of them myself. But yeah, I think it's hard to let go of a relationship. Oh, the reason why I say that is because I think closure is a myth, and I think I was really seeking a why. Why did this not work out? Why, even though I knew I didn't want to end up with this person. And I think I also had a very long situationship thing, where it was like this guy that I was really good friends with, like for like 5 years, and I had always kind of had feelings for him, and I think he always had like a little bit of feelings for me, and then it kind of came to a head one day, where we admitted feelings for each other, and then like it kind of got weird after that, and then also he got with his ex after that. They're married now, which good for them. I'm really happy for them actually, but because I think that's great, like I love that. Anyway, but I think for a long time I really wanted closure from that situation, and then I had ended up seeing him like in person, and not like in a way that we talked at all. I had passed by him somewhere, and like he avoided making eye contact with me, and this was like 2 or 3 years after everything kind of happened, and I was like, that was all I needed. Like, that was all I needed. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't someone that was meant to be in my life. And even though we had a really strong connection at some point, it wasn't meant to be in that way. And so the reason why I say closure is a myth is because I think that's something you have to come to terms with on your own, 1. And 2, I think there's some things maybe we don't ever get closure from. I think we're always looking for like answers and ways to get over things and ways to let go things. And my question is why? And I think I'm thinking about I'm kind of relating this to grief in a way, and I know it's not entirely the same, but if you think of grieving a loved one, like I think we're so caught up in wanting to get over it one day and wanting to return to normalcy. And I don't think that's possible. Like, I think we think of the 5 stages of grief where we one day reach that acceptance stage and we're good, we're healed, we're done, we're quote over it. And I don't think that's possible. And I think obviously there's a lot of conversations and research that negate that 5 stages of grief even being relevant to many people. And hey, if it works for you as a framework, that's fine. But I think for me, I can't accept that. I don't think you ever get over things. And so you're saying, how do you let go of a romantic relationship you know won't ever work? I think you need to ask yourself, why isn't it not working? And be forgiving with yourself on if you can't accept it fully right away. Because obviously you're saying you know won't ever work. You know why it won't work, right? Maybe this person and you like feel differently about, I don't know, getting married and having kids, or feel differently about where you want to live, or feel differently about the kind of life you want to lead. Like, you know, fundamentally you all won't work out. And I feel like that's enough. And I think sort of reaching that moment of closure or that moment of letting go isn't going to be this big thing that one day happens. It's going to be a gradual process. And honestly, maybe in 30 years, you still think about this person and still think, what if? And I think that's life. I think that's so normal. So I guess all this to say is I think you have to be forgiving to yourself. I don't know if this is something you're always thinking about. If you're like, oh my God, I need to let this go. It's never going to work out. Like, I'm so mad at myself for still thinking it will, or still having hope. I think you know it's not going to work out, and I think that's enough. And I think letting yourself go through that process of feeling how you're supposed to feel, which is, yeah, it's like such a normal human emotion to not let it go and to think about this person. Like, I say it all the time on this show, but like, what we have in this life is the people around us in the community. And if you've built something special with this person and you are now accepting that it's not going to work out with them, of course you're going to be thinking about them. Of course you're going to like have them on your mind and still wonder what if. But remember what your North Star is, and that's that you guys won't work out because you're saying it for some reason that's coming up. And just let it flow naturally. Otherwise, I think, I hope that makes sense. I just feel like closure is such a myth, and getting over things is such a myth, because I think it's totally normal to still ponder and think about the what ifs, because like, that's so natural. Like, duh, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying duh to you. I'm saying duh to like the expectation that we're supposed to just get over things and move on. I just don't think we do. And maybe we do for some things, but I think it's very normal to live with these sort of questions, and that's fine. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, we are going to get into another music break, and then we'll get into our second advice question. See you soon. Welcome back. You are listening to Grief Support Group. I'm your host, Alex Piscatelli. We are at the end of the show. Well, okay, wait. No. Sorry. We're not at the end yet. I am jumping my gun. I am running on 5 hours of sleep. I just took a big sip of my coffee. I hope you're all listening with a iced vanilla latte. I feel like that is the drink of Grief Support Group, because that's the truth. Vanilla syrup. So the thing is, last week I said that hazelnut syrup is done. I said, you're done, hazelnut syrup. However, the truth of the matter is it's actually quite good. It is good. And hazelnut used to be my number one favorite. I'm still on vanilla, okay? But we cycle through. We dabble in each. We enjoy both. And that's what it's about. Okay. Well, you just listened to Megan Thee Stallion, who love that song. I've actually been wanting to play that song for the past like few weeks, but I talk too much, so I haven't been able to get to it. That's fine. We're good. I think next semester I'm going to have a longer show. I think I need to. An hour is simply not enough. Okay, we're in the part of the show, not the end yet, but first we're going to get into an advice question. And this is our last one of the day. And if you have advice questions for my next show, you can ask them. You can do so at bit.ly/KSFS advice. Okay, final question. This person said, I'm moving across the country and am struggling with what feels like grieving the inevitable friends and people in my life being either in my life less or not at all. Some of these people are truly the best I've ever known, and while I know phone calls /text /FaceTime can help, I can't help but feeling like I'm losing people that I love. Thoughts /advice. Yes, thank you for this question. I love it. And I think it's a very, very important one. And I mentioned this on the show already. I've moved around quite a bit in the last few years, and this includes across the country there and then back to California. And I think this is a very hard thing. Moving is so hard, but it's easy at the same time. Once you do it so many times, you find ease with it, and you know what to expect more. But I think when you're doing this big move, it can feel very horrible and scary. And I think the biggest thing that I will say, you say you are moving across the country, so I don't know if you have done it yet, is what I'm presuming from this question. Or I'm moving across. Yeah, I don't think you've done it yet based on this question. So what I'm going to tell you, and listen closely to this because it's not going to feel like the truth, but it is the truth. It's going to take a long time. To build your community in a new place that you're moving, it's going to take a long time. And that doesn't mean that where you're living is not a good place for you. It means it's going to suck. The first year, even 2 years of living in a new place suck, okay? They're awful. I'm serious, because you have to not only get comfortable in a brand new place, but you also have to kind of learn the vibes of the place. And then you also have to try to build community. And that's going to be a very, it's not touch and go. I forget the word I'm looking for. It's not an easy process because you're going to meet people. You're going to be like, ooh, I like them. And they're good. I like these people as acquaintances. But then you realize, no, these aren't the people that feel like the people from home. They're not the people that feel like my community. And that's okay. I think you're going to go, ebb and flow. That was the thing I was looking for before. You're going to ebb and flow through these new friendships and you're going to figure it out along the way. But I want to tell you right now, it is going to suck. And that does not mean you're a failure. And it does not mean that this place that you're moving to is not for you, but it will take you a couple years to establish yourself in a new place. I don't say this to scare you. I say this to make you feel, easier on yourself and feel better about the move that you're doing. Second of all, you're saying you feel like you're struggling with kind of grieving people being in your life less or not at all. Yes, that is a very hard thing. It's a very hard thing. I think what you're doing though is so important. I think everyone's situation is different. I feel so grateful that I moved across the country. I was just telling friends this yesterday. I know I'm meant to be in California. I'm sorry, but I know it. I could see a world in which I lived in Boston. I do love Boston. But I think I'm such a California girl and I think I'm really meant to be here. But I don't think I would have felt the way I do about California if I hadn't lived on the East Coast for 3 years. I think it really took that experience and that perspective to help me know what I love about where I'm going to live and feel strongly about the places that I'm living in, and just have a new perspective and new life experiences. I would recommend moving to absolutely anyone. So I think you're making the right decision. I don't know if you're doing it for work or you're just going to a place that you've always kind of felt attracted to. I think you're doing the right thing. Yes, your friendships are going to change and that is going to ebb and flow the way that friendships always ebb and flow. I forget if I literally just said this when I was talking about the closure thing and not saying you're going to need closure from this, friends. But I feel that chart where it talks about the way kind of relationships in your life ebb and flow and the lines come together and then separate and come together and separate at different points. I think that's very true for friendships. And I think even if you lived in the same space or same place, you have friends who could move. You know what I mean? You have friends who could go get jobs in a different place and they're the ones moving, or you could have, I don't know, a multitude of things. A friend who has a kid and they end up like not seeing you for a couple of years because they're stressed out with it, whatever it may be. Like, I think people are constantly going through these things that your friendships are not going to stay stagnant no matter if you leave or if you stay. So you're struggling with what feels like grieving these friendships, and I think that's so valid, but I don't think that's avoidable. Even if you don't move, I don't think that's avoidable. You're always going to be struggling with the changing of friendships throughout your life. And I'll say this too, I felt like living on the East Coast, I felt really disconnected from a lot of people. And I really struggled with that, especially when my mom was dying and after my mom died. Like, I really struggled with feeling like I didn't have that sort of community around me. And moving back to California and like even just, I mean, I'm in the Bay Area and a lot of my friends are like in San Diego and LA, and I have friends in the Bay Area too, of course. But like when I visit different friends in different parts of California, I feel so much closer to them, even though like I'm still further from them. And I think that's like, it's just, I think your friendships are always going to ebb and flow, and seeing someone and seeing them only once every year or a couple of times a year, you're going to remember how much you loved about them. And you'll constantly get new reminders and closeness with them. So I think just be easy on yourself and do those phone calls and do those texts and do those FaceTimes. But forgive yourself, because this is kind of life. I don't want to negate how you're feeling and be like, oh, such is life. But I do think this is kind of what life's about. So embrace it, embrace the change, embrace the way your friendships are going to change, because they're only going to get stronger from here. Okay. I hope that was helpful. I don't know. Good luck with your move, seriously. But this has been another episode of Grief Support Group. I'm your host, Alex Piscatelli. I will be back in 2 weeks. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you on the other side of Italia. Okay, bye everyone.